Good morning, students. Today talk about food chain and food web. Food chain in an ecosystem, every living organism is depend upon the other organisms for food. There is a chain-like system exists in the food dependency. The process of transfer of energy for producers to consumers and then to decomposers is called food chain. In the biosphere, the energy flows from producers to primary consumers, from primary consumers to secondary, and from there to decomposers. This process is called as food chain. For example, in a paddy field, the paddy crops can be eaten up by the grasshopper. The grasshopper in turn can be eaten up by frog. The frog can be eaten by a snake. Finally, the snake can be consumed by a hawk. Thus, the sequence of living organisms in which one organism consumes another organisms to transfer food energy is called food chain. Then food webs. In a natural ecosystem, the food chain does not remain simple and linear. Sometimes it becomes complicated by several interconnections. These interconnected food chains with each other is called food web. For example, in a grassland ecosystem, the grass is eaten by grasshopper, rabbit and mouse. Grasshopper is eaten by cotton lizard, which is eaten by eagle. Rabbit is eaten by eagle. In addition, eagle also eats grasshopper and mouse directly. Thus, 5 linear food chains are interconnected to form a food web. This is a very simple food web. There are more complex food webs exist in every ecosystem. Ecological pyramids. In a food chain, each step is called energy level or trophic level. The diagram showing the transfer of energy is in a given setup organisms is called the ecological pyramid. For example, the irritation between numbers, biomass and energy contains of producers, consumers of the first order, second order, up to the top carnivores in any ecosystem is represented in diagrammatic ways. Pyramid of number. It shows the number of individual organisms at which level. For example, if we count the number of plants, grasshoppers, frogs, snakes and hogs in a grassland ecosystem, the number of plants is very large. The number of grasshoppers is lesser. The number of frogs is still lesser. The number of snakes is still more lesser, whereas the number of hogs is the least. Pyramid of number shows the number of individual organisms at each level. For example, if we count the number of plants, grasshopper, frogs, snakes and hogs in a grassland ecosystem, the number of plants is very large, the number of grasshoppers is lesser, the number of frogs is still lesser, the number of snakes is still more lesser, as the number of hogs is the least. The plants are the producers and therefore they constitute the first trophic level. and they occupy the base of the pyramid. As they are very large, as we go up, the number of living organisms in the given area decreases. The herbivores occupy the second trophic level. The first order carnivores constitute the third trophic level, followed by second order carnivore in fourth trophic level. The top carnivore occupies the top trophical level. These various trophic levels can be represented diagrammatically as pyramid of biomass. It represents the total weight of living beings of different species at each trophic level at a particular time. In a grassland land ecosystem, for instance, not only the number decreases, the biomass also continue to decrease from the primary producers to the top carnivores. It is represented diagrammatically in the usual pyramid shape. In some ecosystems, for example, in a pond ecosystem, as the producers are small organisms, their biomass is least, and this value gradually shows an increase towards the top consumer. Thus, these may be represented by an inverted pyramid. Pyramid of energy. This represents the rate of energy flow and our productivity and successive trophic levels. Here the actual energy constant of each trophic level is represented. The unit of measurement is kcal per meter second. The pyramids of number and biomass may be upright or inverted depending upon the nature of the food chain in the particular ecosystem, where areas pyramids of energy are always upright. Thus, ecological pyramid shows the different trophic levels of an ecosystem which are related to one another by graphical representation. Factors of degradation of environment. Environment in the hands of man today gets degraded in various ways. The imprudent, greedy nature of him endangers environments, and he is not aware of his own destruction. Among the various factors of degradation of environment, few are considered the most effective ones. They include population explosion, over-exploitation of natural resources, and environmental pollution. The degradation of environment is determined mainly by the factor of population explosion. The increase in population made insufficiency in everything. There is a great need for more productivity, which leads to over-exploitation of natural resources. Because of population explosion, the other two major factors of over-exploitation and environmental pollution emerge. Increase in population results habitat loss. Man is in great need of natural resources for his well-being. Increasing human population has escalated the use of natural resources. Methods of harvesting have been dramatically modified to have maximum gains. Natural resources are exploited as rapid as possible. Because of this, the non-renewable resources are gradually decreasing. This leads to the degradation of environment to a great extent. There are various types of pollution in different forms, so great harms to the environment. Air, water, soil and everything have been polluted because of man's greedy and imprudent nature. He is aware of the peril because of the degradation of the environment. Environmental pollution takes place due to slow and gradual human activities such as increase of human population, establishing factors and industries, development of transportation facilities, etc. Pollution degrades the quality of the environment. This environmental degradation can be attributed to industrialization and urbanization, the depletion of traditional sources of energy and raw materials. Constant population growth, disruption of natural ecological balance, the internal self-regulation mechanism of the biosphere, destruction for economic benefits of various animal and plant species, and negative genetic consequences of the industrial and other pollutants. Moreover, man has been Moreover, man has been degrading the quality of his environment since his appearance on the earth. He contaminated the atmosphere by the use of the fire, which added gases, smoke and dust to it. He degraded the environment by burning of wood, coal, petroleum gases. The industries which are engaged in the production of various useful things such as metals, leather, sugar, cloth and all over other household products. Chemical insecticides and pesticides produce harmful byproducts which adversely affect the atmosphere. Primitive methods of disposal of sewage and wastage have also damaged the environment. Killing and waste have also damaged the environment. Killing of wildlife, deforestation, overgrazing have greatly disturbed the ecosystem, thus disturbing the ecological balance of nature. Development of civilization has already done a lot of damage to the environment. At national and international level, environment is already destroyed due to lack of cooperation and communication. Every society has interpreted in the environment, and it is necessary to collectively think over this problem. The socioeconomic factors are greatly influenced by the degradation of environment. At present, there are so many adverse issues emerging as a result of environmental degradation. The routine life of man gets affected because of this. The interaction between the environment and society depends largely on the social and economic system. The capitalistic and socialistic system, perception and reactions to the environment are quite different. Socialistic system lays main emphasis on the social importance of natural resources and environmental problems. The capitalistic system has selfish motive regarding the exploitation of natural resources. Some of the adverse socio-economic impact of degradation of environment are migration, effects on human health, effects of welfare and climate, effects rural agriculture and industrial economy, financial crisis to the government. First one, migration. Degradation of environment leads to migration of people from one place to another. People from rural areas migrate to the nearby towns in search of job and sophisticated living. Environment problems like failure of monsoon, lowering of water table and pollution make their agricultural land unproductive. So to earn their livelihood, people migrate to cities which provide a lot of job opportunities in industrial or commercial sectors. Cities are growing fast with the residents population besides the floating population. Then second one, effects of human health. Degradation of environment results in numerous health hazards to the people. Some unique health problems and prevailing due to environmental problems, increasing diarrhea, increasing diarrhea and death due to the unsafe drinking water and malnutrition, returning of malaria, filariasis, encephalitis, etc. are due to degradation of environment. The use of pesticides and artificial fertilizers affect human health, and there are so many malnutrition problems as a result of this. The radiations from nuclear stations cause many health problems including cancer. Effects, weather and climate. Life of people is in great danger because of changing weather and climatic conditions. Today, global warming is the biggest issue in the international level. The accumulation of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere load leads to the phenomenon of greenhouse effect, which eventually leads to global warming. Because of uncontrolled activities of man, toxic gases like sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, etc., combine with waste water molecules in the atmosphere create acid rain. Gases like chlorofluorocarbons react in the ozone layer, which cause its damage, as ozone layer is the prevention factor of ultraviolet rays from the sun, which is very harmful, and damage will cause numerous hazards on the surface of the earth. Pollutants in the atmosphere form smokes and photochemical smokes, which will lead to hazardous effects on the living organisms. Then, effects rural agriculture and industrial economy. Microorganisms are essential for agriculture activities. They maintain soil quality, pollutants, and in the environment destroy microorganisms. Many unwanted use of pesticides and fertilizers leads to soil infertility. Gases like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide pollute the air and destroy the chlorophyll of plants, including agriculture crops. This is known as chlorosis. Because of this, agriculture productivity is adversely affected, which leads to economic instability. Rural occupations like fishing, climb cell collection, sand collection, etc. are often affected by environmental degradation. This makes fishing and other marine industries get affected. The pollution from one factory can curb industrial development of expansion in the surroundings. Over exploitation of natural resources made insufficiency of fuels and raw materials. These factors would lead to economic instability in this country, financial crisis to the environment. In order to mend the problems created because of degradation of environment, the government has to create new schemes and developmental activities. For it, a huge amount of money has to be invested by the government. This will be an economic burden to the government in whole and every individual in particular. Thus, degradation of environment create many adverse crises and factors in the socio-economic factors. Environmental education. Environmental education is a process of providing learning experiences to obtain knowledge, understanding, skills and awareness with a desirable attitudinal change about man's relationship with his natural and man-made surroundings, which includes the relation of population, pollution, resource allocation, transportation, technology and urban and rural planning to the total human environment. Environmental education must utilize diverse learning environments and a broad array of educational approaches to teaching, learning about and from the environment with due stress on practical activities and first-hand experiences. It should help learners to discover the symptoms and real causes of environmental problems and thus develop critical thinking and problem solving skills. Environmental education should be a continuous lifelong process beginning at the preschool stages level and continuing through all formal and non-formal stages and should be interdisciplinary discipline in making possible holistic and balanced perspective. Education characteristics. Environmental education aims at developing in the child an awareness and understanding of the physical and social experiment in its totality. Environmental education should be a continuous lifelong process beginning at the preschool stage itself. The following points would clearly reveal the nature of environmental education. Environmental education involves concern for situations that have real consequences for a society. It develops skills, attitudes, feelings and values needed to play a productive role in improving life and values. It orients to an environmental problem or issue. It aims to clarify values and in some instances to change them. It is interdisciplinary in its knowledge goals. It is a process of recognizing the interrelations among man, his cultural and biological surroundings. It includes action in relation to the environmental problems. It is concerned with the basis of our choice between alternatives. It identifies the imbalances of environment and tries to improve it in view of sustainable development. It provides the basis for construction and creative skills for the practice of healthy living and environment. It utilizes educational approaches, methods, and techniques of teaching to identify the real causes of environmental problems and practice problem solving skills in formal and informal situations. It provides the basis for construction and creative skills for the practice of healthy living and improvement. Environmental education and environment. There are various terms which are used for environmental study, which is interdisciplinary in nature. Therefore, it is not possible for an expert of a discipline to provide a comprehensive and true understanding. A student can also acquire the awareness of environment which is limited to his horizon of thinking. For example, related to educational environment, not environment as a whole. Therefore, an attempt has been made of differentiate between environmental education and educational environment. Area. Environmental education is broad based including physical, biological, social and cultural environment and organization and climate of the schools. Educational environment is limited to social, cultural, biological and organizations climate of a school's classroom. Purpose. Environmental education provides the awareness, skills, attitudes, values and consciousness of the environment. In its practical work may be taken for controlling pollution. Educational environment develops understanding of educational processes and activities, skill and practice to follow in schools and classrooms and to improve quality of environment. Discipline. Environmental education is a highly interdisciplinary of knowledge and environment. Most of the disciplines are concerned with it and contributed in its own area of study. Educational environment is also interdisciplinary, but it is main concerned with the teachers, principals and teacher educators. Organization. Environmental education is given on national, regional and local levels. Private agencies participate in formal, non-formal, adult education and orientation courses for administration. Educational environment is mainly at state level and some central level by private agencies and state organized programs checking environment pollutants. Problems. The problems of environmental education are pollution and degradation of environment, physical, air, water, soil, social, cultural, population problem. The problems of educational environment are related to educational administration, examination, teaching, schools and classrooms. Impact of and assessment. Impact and assessment of environmental education is made in terms of quality of the environment. Impact and assessment of educational environment is made in terms of students' performance in the examination. 7th, media and management. In environmental education, media is most important for the awareness of problems. Legal steps are also essential for preventing and controlling pollutants. In educational environment, media has evolved alternative systems of education, distance education, open system of education. Mass media is used in it. Environmental education and educational environmental. Importance of education. At the present situation where environment is degraded in the hands of man. The importance of environmental education is felt by every nation. Most of all the countries recognize the urgent need for environmental education. Its importance has been thoroughly discussed at several national and international seminars, workshops, and conferences. In present situation, man and environment are considered interrelated and there is interdependence in them. The nature or environment becomes a source of sorrow when the soil, light and air of the environment have the adverse effect on human beings. Therefore, it is recognized widely the need and importance of environmental education. In this regard of the introduction of environmental education is compulsory. The words of national policy and education are noteworthy. There is a paramount need, a great consciousness of environment. It must permeate all ages and all sections of this society, beginning with the child. Environmental consciousness should inform teaching in schools and colleges. This aspect will be integrated in the entire educational problems. Crucial time has come to realize the changing pattern of the environment of the present day. Population explosion, escarpment growth and of urbanization, decline of cultivatable lands, growing number of vehicles on the road, deforestation, exploitation, industrialization, changing pattern of consumption and exploitation of natural resources by human activities have all threatened our every very survival on earth. In the event of not being allotted, at least at this juncture, as to the deter rotation of the environment, we will be deprived of sustainability of all boon of the natural wealth best owned by our nature itself. Hence, there is an urgent and indispensable need to incultivate the environmental education for the present day students from the school level itself. Environmental education as the compulsory subject at the levels of education may lead to the development of eco-friendship, environment, thereby restricting our activities against the environment. Objectives: to develop an awareness of environment, to help in acquiring knowledge and variety of experience, to develop a basic understanding of structure, to help in acquiring skills for interesting. Okay, student, thank you.